was looking for a dentist for my brother, which lived in the area, and I live in the Bay Area, and I found Dr. Loberg, and he did amazing work with my brother, so I knew when I moved back I was going to go straight to Dr. Loberg. The first time I went to Dr. Loberg's office, it was extremely inviting. Everyone's so friendly. I had bridge work done and veneers from a doctor in the Bay Area where I was, and they had to do reconstructive on the right side, so that side dropped a little bit, so it looked like too much of a drop for me, so I wanted to know if Dr. Loberg can fix it, and he did. So instead of the drop, he made it more straight, but he couldn't just do one side, he had to do the whole bottom and then everything. At the end of the day, the only thing that Dr. Loberg wants is for his patients to be completely happy. I love my smile. Everyone always says how beautiful my smile is. He made my smile amazing, actually perfect. That's it, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you, Dr. Loberg.
Longtime friend of this day is here with us, Dr. Leif Loberg from Loberg Dental Center. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Let's talk a little bit. You've been a long time here, but also a lot longer working here in Laguna Hills, rather. Tell us a little bit about your dental center, how you got started.
Sure. We basically finished up at New York University in the early 2000s, where I met my wife. She grew up in Orange County, Lake Forest, actually. So no better place to set up shop. She won the tug of war, so to speak. I grew up in Canada, so it was either go up to Canada and practice or make home in Orange County, and obviously that's where we've been for the last 22 years.
You looked at the almanac for weather in February in Canada, and you said, you know, I could use a change,
right.
Maybe.
We traded the snow shovel in for the broom, so to speak.
That's not a bad trade. It's not a bad deal. So tell us about the center. When did you open up down there? And it's a full-service family?
Yes, so we've had our Loberg Dental Center open now officially since 2006 in our newest location, which is the old Laguna Hills Courthouse, right near Crossline Church. We've been in there for 7 years now, so it's been a blessing. State-of-the-art facility. We're able to offer all procedures under one roof, and really are able to serve the Laguna Woods community to its full capacity.
Now, dentistry has come a long way since you got out of school, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of that too, but it's amazing the advances in just like one lifetime or one generation that have happened in dentistry with AI, 3D printing, and all that kind of stuff. So tell us a little bit about like the 3D imaging you're doing now, which is kind of revolutionary.
Right, so you talk about the life changes, and I mean, when we graduated, the iPhone hadn't even been invented.
Right.
And so did 3D imaging. So 3D imaging, those were $1 and $2 million, pieces of equipment that were only found typically in a hospital. And so I was lucky enough to train under those giant, enormous, robotic systems. And now that whole technology has been able to be reduced in a footprint in size. And so we actually have a 3D imaging unit in our office, and the advances in that department are phenomenal.
Kind of like the original cell phone to the iPhone, like you just mentioned, right? There's the compression of that technology. But so, what advantages does 3D imaging kind of bring to the table for dentistry?
So that's a great question. I think the number one the number one advantage, so to speak, with 3D imaging is in the diagnosis. So you get a chance to see comprehensively from joints to bone structure to the teeth and the relationship of the jaws to each other.
Okay. Was it kind of guesswork before that, or was it like, well, we think this is going on underneath here, or you look at an X-ray and you're hoping to figure it out?
Right. It was kind of an archaic. With all due respect, testing for, different types of pathology and so forth. But now with a 3D image, you really can see the relationship of teeth to pathology like abscesses, root canal fractures, to the bone.
You know, so somebody comes in and says, "I got this pain here," and it takes that kind of the guesswork out of it. And it wasn't rudimentary before. You had great advances in dentistry, but this is kind of sounds like a major leap ahead.
Massive.
Yeah.
It really is a massive leap, and it's a huge tool in the armamentarium of our diagnosis. From the standpoint of being able to make a definitive diagnosis on a tooth or a system.
Now, is this something that insurance is now saying, yes, we're going to cover this, this is the wave of the future, this is the new standard, or is that something that's still kind of bouncing around?
So the whole process of 3D imaging is now really moving to the standard of care. And so practitioners and general practices, specialty practices that utilize the technology, are definitely supported by the insurance companies.
Right.
Just because it's really a comprehensive diagnostic tool that we now have, and when it's readily available, insurance companies obviously are going to jump on the bandwagon to say, hey, this is in the best interest of the patient.
Okay, great. When you're doing it, are you getting stills, are you doing video, or what are you seeing, and how are you able to manipulate and look everywhere?
So a 3D scan from a bone imaging perspective allows us to give both a video perspective through as we move the slide vectors through the bone and through the teeth. So you can really visualize things like fractures, things like pulpal pathology, root fractures, and of course all of the periodontal issues that go along with root pathology. So it's super awesome.
Are you using it also as preventative? Let's say there's microfractures that you never would have been able to detect before. Can you look in there and say, oh, look, this might be a problem in the future. Let's take some steps now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're able to actually zoom down on a microscopic level and say, hey, this is a pathological fracture and this is the culprit. And it's essentially a 100% definitive diagnostic tool. What I also like too is the visualization of other systems. So for example, sinus pathology. You can visualize polyps, you can visualize sinusitis, and a number of other conditions.
Right, so it goes far beyond just dental work and the imagery that we're seeing in the whole medical field.
Correct.
Yeah, that's amazing. So when you bring a patient in, when do you say to yourself, oh, we're just doing x-rays today, or hey, this is a 3D? What would be the criteria for me to come in and say, Michael, you look like you need some 3D imaging?
So we have a lot of patients that come in and they say, doc, I need some help. I haven't been in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And so at that point, you assess the situation, and to bring everyone up to speed, you can look and you can say, hey, let's take a 3D image and make a plan for you and go from there. One of the forefronts that we use the technology for is in the implant world, called All on 4 or All on X, or Teeth in a Day as it's known.
Okay.
Where you can image the system, the teeth, and make a diagnosis whether all the teeth have to be removed and implanted.
And tell me a little bit about smile design versus impressions and what we're doing there.
Sure. So one of the beautiful things now is with scanning technology that we have, where you can take a patient preoperatively, scan them with a digital scanner, and create a virtual model without the patient being in the chair. Once you have a virtual model, you can then design a perfect smile and kind of work backwards.
Okay.
Doing the preparations and again digitally imaging.
So here's what we need to do, A, B, and C to get you to where we want you to be, kind of thing?
Correct.
Okay. Let's take a look at a video.
The decision to fix my smile was a pretty tough decision, a long decision. It had gotten to the point at work where I wasn't smiling as much and I wasn't engaging with clients or the people that I worked with. And so the idea about replacing the teeth came quickly after I got comfortable with the idea. When the work was done, I was able to interact with my friends, my family in such a new way that I questioned why I didn't make that decision sooner. It was the best thing that I could have ever done for myself.
Wow, that was really interesting. And is that more on the really more on the cosmetic side? It sounds like, or people coming in with maybe some damage or some challenges, or a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. I mean,
Okay.
we see lots of folks that have fallen, that have fractured their teeth. As you know, in the elderly population, balance is an issue, and so falls are more common than we'd like to think. So there's damage. There's also the cosmetic improvement of just worn dentition. As we get
Right.
older, our teeth wear down.
Right, and like smile and bite and things like that kind of change over the years as you wear those things down, right? So that can also help in that area too.
Correct. It's really at the forefront.
Okay, well that's fantastic. Dr. Loberg, thank you very much for coming in. Very informative, very interesting stuff going on there. And I'll remember to smile and brush and floss and do my preventative stuff as well.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thanks a lot. When we come back on this day, we're going to be getting some summer fun out there, get a recreation update from the Village Recreation Department. Stay with us.
I've always been afraid of dentists. I think that's why my teeth were so bad. When I first met Dr. Loberg, he introduced himself. He was real friendly and very sincere. You can tell the sincereness in his voice and the way he talked to you and the way he explained things to you. And if you had any questions, he was just more than happy to answer them. To be able to eat again and not have pain is just something that is a very good experience. I've never experienced that before. Since I was 21, I've had bad teeth and always something wrong, always. And I just dealt with the pain, and I just got to where I was done with the pain. And I couldn't even eat a hamburger anymore. I mean, I was lucky to bite into a banana without my teeth falling out. I mean, and this man changed my life. I went in to see what was going to happen, why I was having the pain I was in, and it was just, my mouth was just really bad. So he told me what he had to do, and it just gave me a full implant, lower and upper, and everything just went along so smooth. I was never in a bunch of pain. If I needed them, I could call them. Benefits, I have beautiful teeth now. I feel I'm really more self-confident, and I can smile and be happy and know that I look good. I want to thank you, Dr. Loberg, from the bottom of my heart. You'll never know how I feel toward you for doing this for me.